One won by Calpe for the ladies, and the Porral, which was won by Med. The two team events on the Sunday morning outside the clubs, the 250-meter course round boys. This is for the Gibtel Trophy, the accumulated time of two crews to win it. Calpe with a lead in the first leg, Stagneto, Gasche, Russo and Bonfante rowing for them with Abudaram as cocks. And for Med, it was Haviland, Latin, Santos and Westlake with Ian McIntosh as cocks. Coming to the second of their turns, Calpe clearly well in the lead by this stage, but of course crossing the finishing line would not decide it. It all depended on how the other two crews would do for the second leg. Conditions, as you can see from these pictures, far from ideal. There was quite a swell, a bitterly cold wind, and this made it rather difficult, particularly for these young oarsmen. But they battled gamely, and the Calpe crew establishing something of a lead, which they hoped would be enough to seal them the victory. There we see Med coming through. These pictures now from the second leg. For Calpe this time, it was Acris, Gasche, Cummings and Asopardi with Aquilina as cocks. For Med, Viñales, Magnasco, De Aro and Rodriguez with Mark Hemi as cocks. This time it's Med who had the lead, but a very narrow lead, as you can see, at the first of the turns. Still a good turn from the Med boat. They come out approximately a length ahead. They'd gone in with a little bit less. Great rhythm to this crew, and they certainly had built upon that lead at the second of the turns. Calpe just beginning to turn, Med just coming out of it. But everybody really, their eyes on the stopwatches to see what the difference between the two crews would be and who would win the Gibtel Challenge Cup. The distance between the boats appeared to be less this time round. The Calpe oarsmen also putting in a good performance. So though Med won this particular leg, in the end it was Calpe who won with a time of 7:25.01 to Med's 7:26.82. So a victory by the narrowest of margins, under 2 seconds between the two clubs. And this was to be followed by another team event, 4 lengths of the 250 course this time for the Carboni Challenge Cup, and this one for seniors. This is the first leg. The station closest to the shore, which is the one to the right of your picture, seemed to get the worst of it, though being a team event they alternated, so that if Calpe rowed there the first leg, the second leg Med would row there. Med clearly establishing a lead at the end of the first of those turns, coming out very strongly. Calpe crew here being Darlington, Grech, Russo and Stagneto, whereas for Med it was Moreno, Buttigieg, Haviland and Rodriguez. Calpe well behind in this leg, as you can see. Med pulling very strongly, and certainly the turns seemed to be rather poor for Calpe. They went very wide on the turns, almost coming into the rocks on that particular occasion, and seeming to row a couple of lengths more than their Med counterparts. So there was quite a lot of clear water between the boats as they came down on the final leg. There you see Calpe just coming out of the turn, Med already well on the way home. In the end, Med clocked 4 minutes 42.8 seconds to Calpe's 4 minutes 58.27. So that gave them a lead of some 16 seconds, a pretty substantial lead for the Calpe first crew to then try and claw back. It wasn't really likely, particularly given the fact that the Calpe first crew would row against the Med first crew, who have been practically invincible all season long. But still, at least Calpe had the better station for the second leg. And as happened when these regattas were held to celebrate the opening of the Med Club, good attendance from spectators from both clubs, who lined the verandas and cheered them on, both crews vociferously. There we see the Calpe first crew of Benzadon, Cabezuto, Chacaluga and Bautista, whereas the Med first crew comprised Viñales, Yates, Valerino and Viñales. Neck and neck at the end of the first turn, nothing in it at all, but still 3 more lengths to go. Calpe, great rhythm in their work, as you can see. The boat cutting the water very well. On their way to the second turn. And coming into it ahead now of the Med crew, though very, very slightly. Certainly no more than half a length at this stage. But Calpe pulling out a better turn there, getting the boat straight sooner than Med, but still very close, as you can see. However, at this stage, Med seeming to run into problems, and Calpe had established a clear lead at the last of the turns, though certainly a lead which was not even one length, I would say, so they were never going to win the actual event. And though they rowed very strongly in the final 250 meters and established an 8-second lead, it was never going to be enough. And at the end of the day, it was Med Rowing Club winning with an accumulated time of 9 minutes 24.15 seconds to Calpe Rowing Club's 9 minutes 31.39. But again, some very successful rowing, and it was good to see that in both regattas, a club won one of the legs, which made it interesting for all the spectators. They had plenty to cheer about, and certainly the winner, as indeed has been the case for most of the season, was rowing itself.